Hello and welcome to episode, well, not an episode, but rather a big announcement from FReality. The crew and I have decided to halt production of the podcast as of January 2025. So this is going to be quite a short episode, just explaining a little bit about that and sharing that news in this video. FReality would like to thank our audience and friends, our previous crew members, Prometheus, PSVR Frank, Nathy, and Mike, our prior guests who've aired on the show, past sponsors who kept us afloat, and all of our VR industry supporters worldwide. To our dear audience, we really thank you for more than 7 years of engaging with this one hell of a badass podcast. From our roots at the beginning as VR Inside until today as FReality. As for professionals who've managed to give an all-important sliver of our lives to keep the podcast up these past 2.5 years after our second big change in the cast, today's a bit of a sad day, and yet a remarkable one. And so we are all patting each other on our backs today for getting this far. It's absolutely ground me up for a couple of weeks considering this major lifestyle change. And we can't predict the future, reunions, crossovers, or AI spitting out an endless version of this podcast using our likenesses. But for now, it's going to stop. I also want to give a Lifetime Achievement Award to Rowdy for being the last standing member of the original cast. For anyone who dials back the clock and goes all the way back, Rowdy, you get that Steam achievement pop-up.
Nice.
Achievement unlocked.
Enjoy some extra points to buy some stickers.
That's what it was all about.
So what I'd like to do, just keep this short and sweet. I'd like to hand it to each of the crew, just to relay what FReality means to each of them. I'll give my message as well at the end, and then open to all of you watching to leave your comments, below the video. What did you enjoy about the cast? What would you dream for a future? And just thanks to all of you. So, Adam, if you don't mind, would you like to go first?
The pressure. So I guess I want to let people know this was like a sort of a mutual decision. It wasn't like we all secretly behind the scenes hate each other and we're like, no, this ends now. Well, that would have been fun, maybe. But I don't know. Like, I still remember when Zim had reached out initially to be like, hey, Mike and Nathy, they had eventually left the podcast. Like, we're looking for people to potentially fill in. And I was just like, what? Because, they were and still are like huge. And FReality podcast is like the VR podcast. Like, if anyone thinks of VR podcast, it's like FReality. And I was like, part of me was like, why me? I'm not like a huge, I'm not a Mike or Nathy. These are like, I didn't even hold the candle to them. But after having finally, met them in real life, and you realize like, oh, they're just, they're normal people. They're not that great. No, they're just, they're just two totally normal dudes. And I don't know. I've tried to think about what I would say in this moment since we kind of knew that this was going to happen. And I just kept drawing up blanks. But all I knew for sure was that I was so grateful to be considered to be the token girl on the show.
I mean, was.
That long, glorious hair.
That's right.
I mean, at least for me personally, it has been a little rough because, I work at Live technically full time. I also do my own content creation on the side. And so having, even though the podcast is every other week, is to like, oh man, like crap, there's a podcast to like prepare for and make the thumbnail for and titles and descriptions and whatever. And it's not that big of a deal, but it is a day that you lose, or at least,
right.
3/4 of a day, depending on, how much prep was going into that one. So I think, for most of us, some of us, we just need our time back, whether that's to spend time with family or to continue working on our professional careers. Like, I'm proud to say that all of us have something good going on. It's not just because any of these guys are lazy and they're like, you know what, I'm just going to sit at home and play video games. Although a lot of us that's what we do is we play video games. So I don't know if that's a great comparison for a living, but
Isn't that what all we
I don't
do?
know.
we all do that.
But with purpose, or sometimes just to take a break, because we are working so hard with everything else that we do in our lives that maybe in some cases taking a break, not taking breaks is slowly degrading, our work in other areas. So I don't know, it's much needed. But I do want to say too, to like Jose, who was with me in the new and maybe slightly scary of like, holy crap, with these big ass shoes to fill. I am so proud of you, especially because in the beginning, I know that you kind of maybe struggled a little bit more. You were kind of worried about what people might think of you. But your confidence and the way that you changed as the podcast went on is like phenomenal. Like you're just so much more. You're confident in a way that like you're also okay if you don't know things. And I think that's like, I don't know. I can't even describe how you have changed, but it just I've seen such a significant change in you, and it's made me so happy. And I just always wanted to say that. So I'm so proud of you, Jose.
It's not fair. Can I go after Adam? Because like that's not fair. You can't just bravo on that.
Absolutely.
I thought you were gonna go to Rowdy. And I was like, damn it! I gotta stay quiet here. I'm gonna start tearing up in the background. But man, I didn't. I was so chill. I was trying to think as you were talking, and now you just threw like it's just a baseball bat to my kneecaps here emotionally. Man. Wow. I'm at a loss for words, but I feel the same way, right? Wow, I can't even properly. I'm broken now, but to get to kind of summarize it, that's exactly it. Adam, is I still remember vividly it when Zim reached out and we just were kicking it. He was like, oh, let's just have a podcast. I just want to know who you are, and then we'll talk about potentials, about even to see if I want you on board. And I went in on this as let me do my best to impress him. And on that call, I remember him telling me, he's like, no, we're going to he had a whole plan, and he was like, no, we're going to probably move with you. We're going to, there's somebody else I'm talking to, Adam. And that was exciting, but, man, I'm broken here. I can barely speak now, but that's exactly it. It's given the opportunity to showcase my craziness. It's something that I genuinely cared a lot about in the VR space. You mentioned the Nathy and Mike and the crew prior. Like this was a podcast I was heavily watching before I was even considered. I was so detached from the socials, from the internet. I was kind of really from the outside looking in, that when I saw an opportunity there and just to be acknowledged by the stuff I was posting on Twitter, right? It wasn't like I was making videos or making that kind of content that somebody went to see, oh, this person has potential. No, Zim actually went to me and investigated if I had potential. Talk about like looking for a diamond in the rough, literally. That's something that I'm incredibly grateful for, because it gave me the opportunity to, talk and share my craziness. I'll be honest with you guys. As confident as I am now, it made me also respect content creation and time, and it's not something that I ever underestimated, but something that I genuinely respect now more than ever. Is when I think about one of the hardest jobs out there, I always thought entertainment was one of them, but the creation of the showcasing of entertainment, I think, takes a higher precedent from that. And what you do, Adam, professionally on a daily with Liv, and then to be able to even give us a sliver of that talent to us with the thumbnail game, and just being able to just, it's things that you tend to underappreciate until you see some people doing it really, really well all the time, right? And same thing with Rowdy's audio skills and mastery and video. I could never in a million years, all the way up to Zim's ability to host. Like, I did it once, and I will never in a million years want to do something like that again. I was so out of my element, and being able to keep a fluid conversation going with multiple people. That's what I do with myself and all of my voices in my head. I can't even imagine doing that the way you guys do it. So I'm rambling now, but in short, I am so grateful. I am just so excited to see all of us and where we're going to go from here, because it's, as you mentioned, Adam, this is such a oddly good thing happening, even though it's the end of a podcast. And also it's I think it's safe to say that I'm very much agree with our decision as a collective to end the podcast, because quite frankly, you mentioned time, and I'm working in the educational sector, for example, right? Schools are not open on the weekends, and it just the appreciation of time has changed for me completely, and somebody take it away because I'm rambling now.
You
I
guys
wanted
really
to give.
gave it.
Hold on. I wanted to give Rowdy and Zim love too, because I realized I just like gave a big bro hug to Jose and
Yeah,
was like, "All right,
seriously.
bye, old bees." But I just want to
Holy
say,
bro hug. My heart.
like,
Beautiful.
Rowdy, I could never. I did what you did a couple times, and I absolutely hated it.
You did a great job at that, though.
Podcast excited. Oh God, it's so stressful. I hated it. It's like I can't even feel like I can enjoy the podcast because I'm just like, oh my God, is my computer gonna crash? Am I gonna hit the wrong scene? Like audio's just gonna blare all of a sudden for no reason. Like it's so stressful. So I like major props to you, because I hated every time I had to do it. I guess that's a secret, the sort of jab at Zim too. I would do it. I was willing to do it because I know that no one else could, but I hated it. So major props to putting up with all that. And Zim sends 1,000 links every show. I was like, how is my computer not going to explode just from the amount of tabs I have? I know you do it differently, where you do one at a time, which is smart because I get it now. But good God, like it was so much. But I do have to. Go ahead, Zim. I'll let you recover first.
I'm just gonna say, as someone who was sitting behind the desk for that long, I mean, Rowdy is such a cool hand Luke with that stuff, man. He just makes it look so easy, and I just got a high five on that comment because so calm. I mean, I'm more in it like Adam in that way, kind of like type A, like, oh God, I pushed the wrong button. So. Damn,
I
Rowdy,
just don't care.
You've done a great job. Done a great job.
That's a skill to have, though. Like sometimes caring too much is a bad thing, but the little things that don't matter, really. But then for Zim, I forget if I told Rowdy this in secret when we were in Venice, but I didn't like your face. I didn't like all the faces you made in your thumbnails. I thought I never had, had any interactions with you prior. I just thought you were a weird dude. So, like, to have you reach out to me at first, I was like, I don't know, this is weird face dude. Like, but he seems nice. Like, all of your interactions I had seen on social were fine, other than your face.
Yeah.
So,
no.
That's so
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
No,
but I just
to be fair,
let you know.
That's a very fair comment. It's very funny because the very first ever like Zim head cut out, my wife's like, I hate that, and I'm like, I'm using it, and so I used it for ages. But you're not the first person to feed that back, so thank you.
That's awesome.
But the more that I've gotten to know you, the more I realize like it fits. Like I guess it'd be weird if you were doing like a serious or like a typical, I mean, YouTube reaction thumbnails are over the top, but you like take it an extra level. So I guess it'd be weird if you toned it down, is what I'm trying to say. Like I get it now. I understand why you do the weird faces, and I won't make fun of you anymore for them secretly to other people or to myself.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, okay. I'm done. Sorry
All
to take over Jose's at the end.
You're all good. So I think that's Adam and Jose sorted. Rowdy, man, over to you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Jose and Adam are both lying. The real reason why we're splitting is because my Age of Empires career has finally taken off, and I need all the time I can. No, I'm joking. Of course, my Age of Empires career is not yet taken off, but I'm working hard towards that. But yeah, I mean, it's a bittersweet moment, right? Like it's in a way, it's like something that we've all worked very hard on, and the only reason that this podcast has been able to exist for so long, especially if you look at all the other virtual reality podcasts that have come and gone, during the time that we started, because I think we were one of the first podcasts out there to really push this agenda and this kind of thing. On a regular basis with a particular kind of structure. And the only reason why that worked is because every person that was a part of that show, whether it was Mike, Nathie, Adam, Jose, Zim, or myself, or the only reason why that worked was because everyone put in a huge amount of effort, and we split up those roles very particularly according to people's strength, and trying to fill in and organize. And that was a big part of this podcast, was to bring a level of quality that was good enough for us to be able to do it on a weekly basis in the beginning, a 2-weekly basis after that, but in a way that it's still entertaining and fun to do. I don't think, and I think Zim agrees with that, like especially with Mike and Nate was a little bit different, because we did go for a more professional level, and we did a lot more things at the beginning with like the scene switching, and we tried to narrow that down eventually to make it more of a fun show to watch, but also interesting from a perspective from us and for our audience. So yeah, I'm really proud of like how we brought that every week, every 2 weeks, to a platform like YouTube, and we grew to like a significant, especially for a podcast on like multiple platforms. We grew this to something that I think that we all should be very proud of, and I think that every member, past and present, has had a huge part in that, in making sure that that the show brings that level of detail and that level of entertainment. So yeah, just huge shout out to all of us for doing that. Adam and Jose, like you guys were never meant to fill shoes, but I think the energy that both of you brought to the show was a very welcome energy. The technical expertise, the fun comments, the humor, all of that just like blended so nicely. Like I said, like nobody was supposed to replace Mike or Nathy. I think that Zim and I had quite a few discussions on that. We didn't want like Mike 2 or Nathy 2. Be kind of weird to find like another bold dude and like
I tried my best.
I'll never know.
Yeah, like, it was one of the requests we made for Jose, but he denied to like shave his head. But yeah, that's just how it goes. But yeah, I mean, and then like putting the podcast on a stop now. I think it's a good moment to do it as well. I think that we've run a really nice course. We've gone through a lot of highs, a lot of lows, and I think that we've, as a team and as a group, have come out, all of us a little bit stronger out of that. So another thing to be very proud of, I think. But yeah, I do feel like it's a good time to at least like put for now like a stop to it, and to reflect a little bit on ourselves and work on ourselves. Like I said, like I'm even though my career is maybe not directly in virtual reality, like many of you guys are here, I do have a lot of work that I'm doing personally. I bought a bike as well, so you guys can see that.
Kind of a big deal.
I don't think they do actually. Like, oh, you can see like
you can see the Apple bike.
Yeah, the Apple bike. But yeah, like just yeah, it's been a very nice and good ride, and we've done a lot of things, and I'm sure that that we'll still hang out together, and we'll still do stuff together, and probably see each other on specific kind of meetups in the future as well. It's always nice that even though we're a fully digital platform, and I've said that multiple times, it's always nice to like how friendships can develop over like not being able to see each other. I think virtual reality is a perfect medium for doing so. So yeah, I really appreciate that. And then one final thing is, I don't even know if Zim knows that, but the real reason why I joined the podcast originally when we did is not because, well, I mean, my YouTube channel was taken off, and a lot of people think it was because of Prison Boss, but the real reason was because I was the only VR YouTuber who had a significant female audience.
Really? That's amazing.
Rowdy Casanova.
Exactly.
That does not surprise me.
I did have a significant female audience. I mean, I'm pretty sure they were teenage girls, so it didn't matter. But yeah.
Whoa.
Ah, dude. Well, that was absolutely exceptional. All three of you, those comments, they definitely strike a chord. And to me, I just want to say, although I've already been through the doldrums of, feeling sad about this thing ending, on the flip side, this has been amazing. This has been absolutely fantastic. When we reached out to you two, to help us keep this ship sailing, that was it. The list was 2 people, and we reached out to 2 people, and you guys said yes, you came on. And honestly, you both have stood up as such amazing VR personalities, both of you. I'm addicted to Jose's way of thinking and the things that he's going to tell me that I never even thought about. Adam, you're madder than I am, which is a high bar to pass. Just totally nuts. But man, the kind of hand in glove fit that you both brought into this podcast, I actually, when we first started looking, Rowdy and I didn't think it was really possible, because you look around and you see a lot of copycats and the same person doing the same stuff, but you two stuck out from the crowd. And to everyone who's been part of the podcast in the past, whether it's guests or past hosts and all that kind of stuff, man, it's just been, like Rowdy said, it's been such a great train to be part of, this hype train the whole way along. I really am positive looking at the future. I'm really excited, and I'm eager to get back actually streaming a bit more than I have. My real life career has gotten bigger. My kids being 10, 8, and 4 are just that age where I kind of need that Saturday slot to be able to, leverage that time, because I've built a gamer family. We all play games together, and now we've got VR to do that with. Why the heck would I not just dive into that and have LAN parties every weekend, So like, that's part of the reason why, I raised it to the team and said, like, maybe we should think about calling it here, but I agree with you, Rowdy. I think this is a really good time. It feels like a natural spot for us to kind of call it here. And like the idea of, developing and growing in a direction. My wife and I are thinking about game dev again, doing more stuff in that line as well. And that might take us years to get to, so don't expect something next year, but this has been beautiful. Definitely some of the best, like, golden years, some of the best friendships and conversations that I've had in my entire life. I've been through a lot of gaming communities, and this has been a really, honestly, heartfelt, warm community. Even people who in the comments, rip us a new one, the next podcast, they're back to say a nice thing. It's funny, but it's like, that's the way it's been. And I really want to encourage that open dialogue to continue. Hopefully you'll get to see us wherever we are, if that's Twitter, X, Blue Sky, like wherever we're sitting out there on Reddit, which I still love. I know some people think it's the ass end of the internet, but it's really something that I look forward to. But subdividing our time, over and over again, Adam said this point, it's about being able to bounce back, being able to breathe, and then really being able to put your all into the projects that you have. And I think we've done that over the years. We really have. And this has felt, honestly, like in the intro, which I'm still so proud of, that we, had engineered for us by a wonderful guy out in Ukraine. It's just like this badass rock band. So whilst I'm terrible with musical instruments, man, I can say a few things, and we've said some bold stuff on this show. And I still think that this voice is going to continue. FReality to me is more a religion than anything else. And I've been coming to this church, every Saturday, every week or every 2 weeks, to help say a sermon and share in that song with all of you. And for the people who've always been, faceless or nameless, who've just watched, who've just ingested it and enjoyed it. I remember when Red vs. Blue wrapped up, and not Red vs. Blue, the Rooster Teeth podcast, when they wrapped up, when Tested wrapped up, when other VR podcasts stopped a season or stopped a show, and you go, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to invest my time? My friends aren't with me anymore for the journey. We're all still alive. I know Adam had a close one with the fires recently, but, we're all still here. So reach out if you want to keep in touch. And as I said before, love to hear what your thoughts are in the comments. That's kind of us for now. But I look forward to seeing what comes out of all of you. I'm definitely going to be, pinging every other member of the crew, for their recommendations, suggestions. And when we get together, I know it'll feel just like this has felt, just totally natural and just feckin' awesome, to be honest. It's been my pleasure. This is not the Titanic sinking, thankfully. And I hope the years that come ahead and the impact that AI has, all the things that Rowdy's been talking to us about for years, they come to life. And we see better games, better experiences, and we feel closer as a global community. Damn, I love VR, So from all of us at FReality here, these were the good old days, as Michael Abrish once said. I really feel that, and I hope to see you around the internet, around the world.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.